so I was born in the United Kingdom. I've had a varied career up until now. I did various things. So I was in the British Army. I've run various companies. I ran a tourist company. I was involved in business publishing. As business publishing tended to be related to real estate, I got myself into real estate development. And since 2011, I have been living in I bought myself a van. I've been living in the van. And I started publishing things on YouTube related to van life. Effectively, it was about 2012, the first one or two things I actually published, but it's really been since around 2014 when I've done quite a lot of films on it. Now, I've traveled quite extensively throughout Europe. First of all, in my former guise, when I was in publishing, I traveled to trade fairs in Germany, Italy, France, and other countries, and Poland, UK. But since I've been living in the van, I've been sort of really, there's 5 countries above all, which are Poland, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and Italy. That's sort of more or less where I spend my time, and it's mainly the 3 big, larger companies: Poland, Germany, and Italy.
How is in this kind of life?
Okay, so in a way, I'm not entirely free. I've got to make that clear, because it's even if one of the things with this van life ideology is that people can sort of travel and go where they want, and I think for people who are retired, then that would be no problem whatsoever. But in my case, to a certain extent, first of all, I do this sort of news service related to motorhomes. That's number one. The second thing is I've still got I've got 2 other things I work on, so I'm on two other companies, so I have to go back for that. But last year, for example, I went to the Cartago launch. I was also going to the Heimer launch. Unfortunately, I had a business problem which stopped me going to it, so I had to leave quite quickly. But I go to various trade fairs. There's 4 I go to, which are in Dusseldorf, here in Stuttgart. I go to Bad Kissingen, so I've only been there once, but I'm going to try and make that a regular feature. And there's one near Warsaw in a place called Nadazhin, which I go to as well in October. Last year, I was also at the Essen Trade Fair, which is quite a large fair for motorhomes and for tourism, but that was just because of a client I was going to see for other reasons, so that was en route, so I went there. Okay. Yeah, there's the amount of money that one can make from doing this sort of van life thing is one has to try and think how to how should I put it, monetize what one actually does. And so if for example, if you're making videos on a subject, and you don't really have to be particularly popular. For example, if you're into something like I don't know, maybe it's not so popular, growing orchids or some particular flower or something, and even if you only have a few hundred views a month, but if that is ultra specific and you've got all the people in your sector, then you can monetize that, so people actually produce things for growing orchids. I use that as an example. So in a case like mine, obviously firstly you've got monetization from YouTube, but you try to actually use this to actually get other things. Now, many people, for example, do things related to photography, videography. Even though I'm a bad videographer, I have had offers for me to do things for. I mean, I've always passed those on to somebody else. I thought, it's pointless using someone like me. But I also try to mix this with the other things I do. So if I'm going on a trip somewhere, then okay, I'll make it seem like a van life trip, but it may in fact be a business trip for other reasons. The trick is with this, and that was a new idea which somebody here in Germany is doing very successful, and he's asked me if I want to get involved in, and that is on sales of vehicles. And so consultancy and sales for motorhome sales. And so the idea here is that if a group of us in the position that we have, and accounting for literally well, hundreds of thousands of views. Well, I have average last year was about 1 million views a month. So I mean, but with a few German people as well, maybe 2-3 million views a month that we're accounting for, then that puts us in a stronger position to negotiate. Really quite a strong position as the motorhome producers, RV producers now, formerly they used agencies to promote themselves. Now they don't have to, because there's a YouTubers doing it for them for nothing. But if we get together, then we can start offering these as products, and that will become a way of actually making money on things of this nature. So here at Stuttgart, we're now in a Morello van. Now Morello is in the luxury segment. It's a company which has existed now for only about 7 or 8 years, but they're expanding. They've acquired approximately double in the last couple of years with the floor area that they have for production. So you can see how it's getting bigger and bigger. Actually, you can see it from the motorways. One travels and looking in a northerly direction. Now the vehicles are very luxurious, but the production line is really quite impressive. The way they do it, the machinery, laser cutting, and things of this nature. So. And it produces a vehicle which has an extremely distinctive style. I mean, the color scheme and all the rest of it, but also a vehicle which is very reliable and which will work at properly at very low temperatures. So it's a luxurious vehicle. Of course, I mean that comes at a price, and realistically you're looking around 150,000 euros for a vehicle. And what if you don't have that? Well, I mean, on the second-hand market there really isn't much available. But you know, in years to come there will be. So they can't really say that they lose their value very quickly, because you know they don't. Should one be available.
And the last question: if you have a lot of money, what vehicle you want?
I get asked this question all the time. What vehicle would I buy? The answer is I can't give an answer. I genuinely don't know. I genuinely don't know. There are vehicles where I can say certain things. Now, this vehicle we're in now is utterly magnificent. But supposing they gave it to me for nothing, and so, but with the proviso, I've got to use it for 5 years. I mean, that would be difficult for me. The reason for this is its size; it's too big, and yeah, for me, I would feel uncomfortable. This has got to be, you've got to have a lot of experience for something of this nature. There are vehicles I like very much, like the Heimer MLT 560, for example. That's super. I really like the chassis technology. I like the insulation. I'm currently building a van on a Mercedes Sprinter basis, and that's about 7 meters, 2 meters wide. I can drive that. But and I feel okay. I feel comfortable with that. But you know, something which was much longer, say 7.5. I have driven them, but I don't feel comfortable. And what I feel most uncomfortable with is wide vans. So certainly, you know, 235, I'm beginning to get a bit nervous. So you know, about 220, yeah, that's all right. Okay, the Sprinter's even less than that. My own van is 220, so I can manage that. But so I think these things. And the next thing I'm thinking about is parking. You know, I'm largely somebody who I spend a lot of time anyway in southern Europe and on the Mediterranean. At present, I don't go into towns. I leave my vehicle outside of towns. I've got a bicycle, and I use the bicycle, or use the public bus service or something like that. So these are things which I would take into consideration. For me, though, cold weather use is really, really important. You know, I can find myself in Poland in winter, and I have been even in Russia in winter, and then it's you really appreciate that feature.
Okay. Glad to meet you once again, and we expect in Romania to come in Romania.
Well, I'd like to. Yes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.